Hello, A Taste of AZ podcast listeners. Before we get into today's episode, I want to give a quick shout out to our sponsor, the Somm Journal. When it comes to wine education, the Somm Journal is the leading print publication in the nation. They provide a behind-the-scenes look at who's who and who's drinking what. It's read by decision makers at restaurants and retail wine shops. So if you want to learn alongside the experts, send your subscription request to subscriptions@sommjournal.com. That's SOMM journal.com. Let's get into the episode.
Well, we are here. Is this Scottsdale Quarter, right?
Yes.
I always get it mixed up. I always say Kierland. My wife's like, no, it's Scottsdale Quarter. I'm like, it's the same. Like, it's across the street. But this is Scottsdale Quarter, right?
This is Scottsdale Quarter.
This is a beautiful, beautiful spot.
And I think I read you took a long time to kind of find the perfect spot for your place, right?
Yeah, we started 4, maybe 5 years ago, just trying to understand Scottsdale. And then, to be honest...
because I bet it's so... it's not like San Francisco where everything's kind of concentrated.
It is not. And to be honest with you, our first 6 months, we concentrated on Old Town.
That's where you wanted to be?
We didn't know. Mm-hmm. But,
Okay.
a lot of the newer restaurants opened up
It's
down
walkable
there.
and-
Yeah, and we were sort of like, it. And then someone was like, maybe you should look at North Scottsdale. And then the hunt for a space. As soon as we came up here, we were like, yeah, we would like to be up here.
Yeah.
Very residential. We like being part of the community.
Yeah.
We're all here. We all moved from San Francisco to here. So
Well, welcome to
Evan-
Arizona.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, so Bjorn, one of my partners, lives above the restaurant. My brother and I live together in an apartment across the street, and Evan lives in Ramona, which is his wife, who was also a chef for us in San Francisco, lives there. So we're like 5 minutes from here. It's partially why my voice sounds like that, because I'm old and tired.
I thought maybe last night was karaoke night at one of the local places or
No,
something.
I wish I could say it was that.
So that could be a good thing or a bad thing, right? Being so close to it. It's like your in-laws, right? It's like, I love when they're 30 minutes away, but if they're
Yeah.
5 minutes, like,
When you open though, you need to be close,
Sure.
because if I need to go home for a half an hour, I can.
Yeah.
Especially me, if I need to get off my feet for a little bit.
Yeah.
But like right now, there's so much adrenaline. Just like the stages of opening a restaurant. And to be honest with you, this is a one of a kind. We always do one of a kind restaurants. All our places in San Francisco, we did one in Portland, Oregon, Walnut Creek, were always different ideas.
Okay.
And it's sort of what we're interested in at that moment.
Yeah.
So this was created for here.
Okay.
This is a much larger space than what we had in San Francisco.
With the same name, like Arboleda in San Francisco?
There is no Arboleda.
Okay.
This is the only Arboleda.
Gotcha.
Our restaurants, we had six places in San Francisco. We lost 5 during COVID. There's only 1 left. So
what is it?
Town Hall.
Okay.
Which Town Hall is our original. It's 20 years old.
Wow.
And the funny thing is, so it looks nothing like this. It's an old brick building from 1907. It's Americana Southern. But the designer who did that did this. We worked with him 20 years later.
Nice.
Yeah.
And
awesome.
I think that was more southern, right?
It is,
menu?
yeah, it is Southern. Yeah, because I worked at K. Paul's, and my brother and I were chefs for Wolfgang Puck at Postrio for many years, also cooked with him in other places. And when we were leaving Postrio, I had always wanted to do a Southern restaurant because I had worked at K. Paul's in Louisiana with Chef Paul Prudhomme. And we wanted to be a little more casual. So Evan was chef of Salt House, which was like California progressive cooking, Anchor and Hope, which is sort of an old East Coast fish house. Our cooking, I've been in California for so long, always has a touch of that.
Okay.
Just as, and I'll let Evan expand on the food program here. He's the chef, not me. But, we were there a long time. So, like, this is Mediterranean. But there is a touch of our California in there just because 30 years there.
You can't help it.
Yeah.
And Evan's from L.A.
Okay.
So he's born and raised in California.
Yeah. Is that a Sacramento Kings hat? Is it
No, LA Kings.
Okay, yeah. That makes sense.
I get that a lot, though.
Yeah. Well, so Mitch, right?
Yeah.
Mitch, I was going to say, we introduce ourselves. I'm Eric. I'm one of the hosts of Taste of AZ. Christina, my wonderful co-host.
Cohort.
Yes, she does a great job. I want to see you host some on your own. I think you would do a very good job of that.
We'll work towards that.
She's a little nervous about it, but it means she cares, and I think you do a very good job at it, Christina.
Thanks, sir.
Yeah, and then we got Mitch and Evan. So, guys, thanks for having us in. Before we get too far into this, I guess just a quick, what is your role here? Let's start with Mitch.
Right now, I'm grill cook. Okay.
Yes, I think you were cooking the night we came in.
Yeah.
So in our partnership, Bjorn is front of the house.
Okay.
Runs my brother, is an amazing chef, but at this point deals more with the business side of it. Though Evan has had him working the pantry lately. Okay. He wants no part of the hotline.
Yeah.
And I still love line cooking.
Okay.
And so and not only that, but I want to be in the busiest station, which guess what? A lot of people eat meat here.
Sure.
So I'm
Yeah.
on the grill, so I'm pretty busy.
I think you made our ribeye that night,
Yeah.
didn't you?
Yeah. But the food is Evan's.
Yeah.
We cooked through this together in San Francisco, but him cooking and me eating it.
Yeah.
And just
Yeah.
thinking, maybe a little, but it's his food, so.
So, Chef Evan.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're the guy.
Yep.
Yeah, so what I'm telling you is, if you want to know anything about the food, ask him.
Yeah. Well, where did it start? Let's start with that, Evan. Where did cooking start for you?
For me?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's always something I enjoyed doing, but oddly, I never thought of it as a career. I mean, this was back when, culinary school wasn't so popular.
Yeah.
So I went to college and then
With a path? Like a specific path? Or
No,
Nah.
not really.
Yeah.
Just kind of doing my GEs and stuff, and hoping that I would figure something out. But I was so over classroom type settings.
Yeah.
And then I don't know. I just kind of was talking to a friend, and they mentioned something about culinary school. Never even crossed my mind. So I checked it out, and yeah, I mean, it was just my thing.
Yeah.
I liked it.
This is in LA?
This is in LA, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I went to culinary school and then started working in LA. I was working in LA for probably about, I think, 13 years before I moved to San Francisco and started working with Mitch and Steven.
Okay.
So how long have you been working with them?
I was running restaurants with them for about 7 or 8 years. And then COVID happened. So I was just kind of doing some consulting in the meantime. And we've always been in conversation about, future projects. So that's why I never really pursued any other jobs very seriously. And then
That's a great team right there, you stick through everything.
And he believed me.
You seem like a very convincing guy. Yeah. So what was it about the going to culinary school that just kind of hit home with you?
just the hands-on approach to everything. There was still classroom lectures and stuff, but at least it was about stuff I was interested in.
Yeah.
But yeah, mostly just it's so hands-on. It's learn by example, and just kind of really delve into it.
Yeah. And you had no idea what you were in for, did you?
No. Yeah, there's no. I mean, no matter what, I don't think there's anything to really prepare you for how it really is.
Sure.
All the hours and madness.
But you love it.
Yeah, no, it's great.
Yeah.
It's there's just a certain feeling you get from whether it's a busy night or just speaking to a guest after eating, and it's that satisfaction.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to really get that same feeling in other aspects. So yeah.
That's actually really interesting. That just kind of something just triggered for me that it's because I like creating things, right?
Yeah.
But oftentimes it takes a long time to create something, and then it's a long process. Do people like it? And maybe 8 months after I put out an episode, people are like, "Oh, I really like that episode." You get instant feedback.
Yeah.
Like it's like there. Like,
Instant.
yeah, right. Good or bad, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But there's got to be a draw to that, right? Like there's got to be something exciting.
Yeah,
about that.
I think like a good restaurateur or even a good cook or anyone that works in this industry, you really have to have that need that you want to make people happy.
Yeah.
You know, that it's important.
Yeah.
You know, it's important. Like, you know, people have whatever stuff is going on in their lives. They come here for a couple hours, few hours. And, you know, if you could get them away from that, they can have a great time, maybe experience something they haven't experienced. That's pretty awesome to be
Yeah.
able to do that. And it takes us all day and all night to get there.
Yeah. Well, from what I've heard, I haven't eaten here yet. I'm very excited. I need to bring Jackie here, my wife. She would love this spot, like just from seeing the food that you guys create. But from what I've heard from Christina and other people is you guys are executing on that. You know, you're creating this. I mean, first of all, the space is just incredible. I love the space, but. I'm more of a food guy than a space guy, right? So,
Give me all the food.
yeah, exactly. But well, let me ask you, Mitch. Where did it start for you? Like, where did food start for you?
So my mother was a horrible cook.
Okay.
And grandparents, both pretty good.
Okay.
But when I was 15, my mom marched me into a deli, said giving him a job, and just started, you know, we're talking 1975,
Where was this at?
Edison, New Jersey.
Okay. Okay.
So I was a pot washer, dishwasher, cook. Cooked. I actually went to art school. I didn't go to cooking school. I went to art school in New York. Cooked to get through art school because I had to pay for it myself. By the time I was done, I preferred cooking.
Okay.
And partially my personality, because I wanted to be a photojournalist, war photojournalist, more on your own. And what I love about kitchens, it's a very collaborative thing. Like, get that out and get it out every night. Like whatever we did last night, it matters, but it doesn't matter so much for the people coming in tonight.
Sure.
Right? We have to do that again. And I have a problem with my attention. So cooking is the one thing that when I cook, like everything else goes away.
You're in the moment.
If you really want to do it, great. And I will tell you the amount of talent that we have in this kitchen. Evan and I were talking about last night, and they're drawn to him. I mean, we have people that have been chefs in other restaurants. We have people coming in from other states now to work with us. Nice. And it's a lot of the techniques. So the food is very approachable. Interesting, but approachable, 100%. But like how we're getting there, because of Evan's technique, because I was taught after all that came about.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not as skilled in that. I'm still learning in this kitchen. You know,
Excitedly learning. I could tell by the look on your face.
Yeah,
You love it.
it's fun. Like, you know, sometimes I watch a cook and they'll do something that do it differently than me, and I'm like, wow, that's good. Like, I'm always watching. I'm not just in the kitchen, but out here. You know, and I love talking to the guests. And Evan, who knew, he loves talking to the guests too. When we get a minute to get out there.
Sure.
Because in San Francisco, we didn't do that.
No.
I have to tell you, in San Francisco, I felt like no one really wanted to talk to me.
Well, they were missing out, Mitch.
They were, absolutely. Yeah.
But you know, it's like, I will say, like, the crowd that comes in, it's very interesting because it's super mixed, which I love.
Yeah.
Like, I love, like, it's like families, kids, people super dressed up, dates, celebrations, locals. It's all together, age groups, everything. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a kind of an interesting
Yeah,
area here.
you get people walking by or people coming here as a destination. And then you said this is how you change. Every restaurant is different. So doing something all new for both of you, Mediterranean, must be fun.
Yeah, it definitely is. I mean, and we got to, we did a little R&D trip to Spain and picked up a lot of inspiration there. And just over the years, just talking with other chefs, eating at other restaurants, you draw a lot of inspiration from everywhere. It's like a lot of times when I do talk to a guest and, they'll ask about a particular dish. It's funny because like almost every dish has some sort of little story to it. Like, the origin story of anything on the menu. It's some of them are a little bit more interesting than others, but everything. It's not just that we just threw it on there. There was a lot of thought and conversations between Mitch and I about every dish and cooking through every dish before I moved out here in San Francisco. Did all the recipe testing in Town Hall. But even then, no matter how prepared you are coming here, things change. Our opening menu that was completely cooked through evolved even before we opened.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons I love this place so much is his food is very thoughtfully crafted. Even the simplest dish seems simple, but then you hear what he does. For example, there's a very classic tapas, gambas with garlic and olive oil. But Evan's rendition, can you tell us how you make it your own?
Yeah. So these guys love making it back there. So first starts with a shrimp. We get a specific shrimp from a local purveyor. This guy James, he has this company called Jet Fresh. He has great products. So it's the shrimp from there, and there's basically 3 different types of oil that go in there. Just regular olive oil with garlic, and then dried chili, and then we have shrimp oil that we make. So we get a different shrimp from another company. We save all the shells from that, and we cryovac the shrimp shells with tomato paste, some herbs, oil, and it cooks for 10 hours at I think it's like 63 degrees Celsius to really pull all the flavor out of it, because you don't want to go too high because then you're just cooking it and not extracting flavor.
Like coaxing the sweetness.
Yeah, exactly.
It, yeah.
It's a long a lot of things we have that we do here. It's a long process. So 10 hours for that oil, and then we also make chili garlic crunch. So it's dried chilies, garlic, shallots, same thing, a bunch of different spices in there. And this is what Mitch was talking about earlier, where you kind of have outside influences coming in where you wouldn't really expect in a Mediterranean place, but because there's like soy sauce in there and some ground ginger, and so those 3 oils coming together, I think really kind of elevate that.
It will blow your mind, is what I will say.
Oh, I'm intrigued. I'm like just like what? Like,
every time I smell it,
incredible.
when they're putting it up and somebody walks by with it, just the essence of that,
like you have to order that when you come here.
Oh, yeah.
But what's
Aim
crazy
up
is
to it.
in the end, like that is like Evan's cooking is completely layered,
Yeah.
But in the end, it's garlic, chili, shrimp, right? Like all that, but it's like going to be the best you ever had.
Exactly.
Really. Like
Yeah.
it's really unique because like we ate so much in Spain and it's great. It's garlic and chili. But this probably has like 3 other layers to it. And it's served with grilled bread. So like just to sop up that oil after you're done.
And it comes, all bubbling, and
Yeah.
it's so my mouth is
I know
watering.
you guys just really know. Like, I might cut this thing short so we can get this rocking.
And I think you do the same thing with the patatas bravas too, which is usually a roasted potato dish with like a red tomato-based
right.
kind of
Yeah.
salsa on it. But in Evan's world,
That's another one of my prep guys' favorite things to do.
Oh man.
I mean, this is something they're making every day just for us to keep up with it, because it's another long process. But we parboil potatoes, 2 different types, Kennebec and russets. 75% Kennebec, 25% russets, and then we peel them, and then grate them on a cheese grater, and then we mix in some garlic powder, some onion powder, salt, and then really work it together to work up all the starches. And then we put it in cryovac bags, and we cryovac it so it kind of compresses everything. And then we roll it out so it's a nice even layer, and then we let it set in the fridge. And then we cut it into cubes, and then those are what gets fried. So there's a lot of starch that built up, so you get this nice crisp layer on the outside.
Appropriate
but it's,
reaction, Eric, with that face.
it's creamy in the inside. And then the sauce that we use for that, which is typically like a tomato based like spicy sauce, and usually they use aioli or something. So what we do with ours is, it was based off of a hollandaise recipe that we did in this circulator, so it gets sous vide as well. So it's egg yolks, cream, like shallots, a mix of different dried chilies. We're bringing a lot of we source out a lot of our spices and ingredients from a lot of these great companies, and so we've kind of even like I was saying, like that one evolved. The chilies that we're using originally for that changed because I was starting to get these other chilies with slightly different flavor profiles, a little smokiness, and then anyway, so all that gets cryovac in a bag and then cooked in a water bath at 75 degrees Celsius for like half an hour. Yeah. And it looks like a total mess, but then you puree it and it emulsifies, and we put it in a what we call ISI gun, so like the whipped cream chargers, and then that's what we kind of put over the top of it. So it's like it's aerated, but you get a lot of layers of flavor in there, the different chilies and
it mimics. What's interesting is it's better, but it mimics the aioli and tomato flavor.
It's still you get that traditional.
Yeah,
right.
In one though.
Yeah.
So instead of have two, like if you go to Spain, generally you'll see it like the tomato sauce and then the aioli.
Yeah.
And this is one. And it's
so good.
Yeah, it's lighter. It's lighter. The actual sauce, and even though what's interesting is all this technique to get to this, but like in the end, the potatoes are fried.
Potatoes,
and like I said, it's like whatever the technique is for us to get there. Yeah. In the end, like that, like anyone's going to eat that.
Right. It's
like,
still familiar to
Totally.
them.
Yeah.
If somebody had traveled to Spain, they're going to recognize it as patatas bravas, but the best version of patatas bravas they've ever had.
The amount of intention that you put behind it, I'm just intrigued by the story and all this depth that goes into it.
Do you do a little tweak and say, oh, I can make that better, and then do another tweak?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it is just conversations,
So I did a version of it in San Francisco, like just a regular tater tot with the traditional, and then Evan, of course, did it better.
You're like, darn it.
Nice try.
Right? Because it's interesting because, the potato here starts sort of as a tater tot, but because of the compression that we do with the cryovac machine, it totally changes it. Because it eats, like he said, just creamy and crispy.
Yeah.
And then I think because it's, compressed, there's a more craggy, surface area to it, so they're almost even more crunchier.
Oh, there's something else on it too. You didn't finish.
Oh, and then we do a charred onion ash.
Oh, that's right.
So basically,
onion ash.
Yeah. So basically, just burn onions, and then
because he couldn't just stop with what he had already done.
And then just puree that or grind that into like a powder, and then we kind of dust it over the top. Ooh. So you get this kind of nice deep reddish orange sauce, and then a little black powder on top.
Yeah.
But also, like, talking about experiences, like Evan didn't mention, but so it's Mediterranean, right? It's not just Spanish. So the one thing we knew we had to have was pastas because he's a pasta master.
Okay.
He was executive chef of Drago's in Los Angeles, worked at a lot of Italian, has a lot of depth in Italian cooking. I have a little. I worked at a place called Coco Pazzo in Manhattan, but he has way more. So we knew we wanted to have pastas on. So right now we have 4.
Okay.
And we're about to change 2 because we're trying to follow the season a little bit.
Yeah.
Are you keeping the lobster spaghetti? That's all I want to know.
Yeah, that'll be
That's
awesome.
not changing. But a couple of them are.
Lobster spaghetti? You've
Yes.
had the lobster spaghetti?
Yes, I have.
What
Yeah,
exactly?
that's a little different too. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Evan.
Yeah. So, like I was saying before, like you kind of draw a lot of inspiration from chefs that whether you worked for or just talked to. And as Mitch was saying, I worked for Celsino Drago in LA I worked with him for 7, 8 years, something like that as well. And that was one of his specialties was kind of his lobster spaghetti. And, nobody could ever really figure out like what kind of made it a little different. And it was actually really simple. He used to put Madras curry in his lobster sauce. So it was just a very simple tomato, lobster tomato sauce. And then it was just a little bit of Madras curry, just enough to kind of, give it a little hint without really tasting the...
It's like bright. It makes it bright.
Yeah.
But it also adds a little smokiness to it.
Yeah.
Because I
So-
know when I had it, I was trying to figure out what are these
Yeah.
flavors, and I thought it was like pimenton or something.
Yeah, so the one we do here is we actually use Vaudevin in it. So it's like a French-inspired curry.
Okay.
But it's spices, right? It's not like a curry sauce, right?
Sure.
It's the spices that would make a curry. But
okay.
it's really interesting because it's the French take on it.
So that's staying on the menu, right? So
That is staying
we're
on
not
the
taking
menu.
that. So when I
Yeah,
come
were you
down-
worried? You were
Yeah,
getting
I was.
worried,
I was
right?
like, "God, come on."
and then one of the big things is, again, like a lot of this. So it's interesting because we did a lot of sourcing back in San Francisco, but man, we found some stuff here that just like that we don't see in San Francisco.
Ooh, tell us more.
Yeah, I mean, we were surprised at how many great products we're able to find out here. That kind of, and again, so things kind of changed once we came out here. Like I mentioned, Jet Fresh, and then another one is this. I got connected with this guy Tommy from World Class, who we get our
Your hamon, I know that-
our octopus, and we're getting some great Argentinian beef from him.
I've had all those here, and I can highly attest they're delicious.
Yeah, it's and the search continues. It's we're Mitch just got connected with some people about some farms that we're gonna.
I think that's one of the biggest surprises I've heard from chefs from out of town, especially even California, because you would think, it's a little similar, but it's how many farms we have,
Yeah.
and our farmers markets,
yeah.
and
We're going
just
tomorrow
the
to Old Town.
agriculture.
Nice.
We're going to the Old Town because we're meeting with a farm. Some people I met that grow lamb and beef and pork, and we're super excited to go talk to them.
I want to dig into that a little bit more, but we got to hear a real quick message.
Quick shout out to our sponsor, the Somm Journal. When it comes to wine education, the Somm Journal is the leading print publication in the nation. They provide a behind-the-scenes look at who's who and who's drinking what. It's read by decision makers at restaurants and retail wine shops. So if you want to learn alongside the experts, send your subscription request to subscriptions@sommjournal.com. That's SOMM journal.com.
All right, so farmers markets. Scottsdale, the Old Town Farmers Market's one of my favorites. I love it. Like, take the kids down there, get them a cookie. Or
We
something.
haven't really had time to go, but
Okay.
tomorrow we're going to meet. I think they're called HeartQuest Hollow Farms.
Okay, I love those people.
Yeah.
And those darn chickens, if I could buy one of those every week, I'd be...
Yeah, I had some of the lamb last week and I loved it. So we're gonna
They're
talk
the
to
nicest
them. And then
people, too.
They turned me on to this other farmer, Reba Farms.
Oh, yeah, Mark
yeah.
Ryan.
So we're trying. Evan and I are trying to connect with him to go out there.
yeah, we're
And
we're
then-
both big fans.
Yeah,
sure.
and
Yeah,
then
Mark
I
is
spoke
awesome.
with Charlene from F&B.
Yeah, Charlene
And-
Batten.
Yeah, and she's happy to sit down with us. We're starting to catch our breath. We have some time for that. We're getting staffed up and understanding the level of business. We opened for brunch 3 weeks ago,
3 weeks.
and then we're opening for lunch this week.
Oh,
Oh,
nice.
nice.
So, it's a lot, but we're trying now to meet farmers, we're throwing ideas around for new pastas and stuff like that. And we'll need, if we can get our hands on like peas, favas, asparagus, a little
Yeah,
more
you'll be
springy.
able to do that.
Yeah.
I'm excited for you to get to know the agricultural community here.
Yeah.
'Cause we have such great people.
Yeah, I went with a friend that was on assignment, and it was about growing produce and stuff with not a lot of water.
Yeah.
And I met a bunch of farmers, and that's where I met these guys from HeartQuest, and it was fascinating.
Yeah.
Fascinating. This one guy just grows like I think it was called Sonoran white wheat.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Which
Yep,
which
that's
is
a heritage
indigenous
grain here.
Yeah, and just using these methods that were incredible, like not tilling the ground, not a lot of water, and it's indigenous to here. So there were hundreds of acres. It was really interesting. And then another community that was Native American that was teaching people to farm for themselves.
Oh, nice.
So
Yeah, we have
interesting.
such those ingredients too, like Ramona Farms and Tepary beans.
Yes.
and-
Yeah. Yeah.
Those
kind of
beans
thing.
are crazy. They're delicious,
Aren't they?
In that town, I had a short rib soup.
Oh,
the
with those
Tepary
beans in
It
it?
was delicious.
They're great.
And you didn't have this is not commonplace in California, like.
Not those
Yeah.
beans. No,
But I mean, just like the connection with the agricultural side.
no.
of things.
We're from Northern California. And
Okay.
I probably in Southern California, but there's a big connection. I mean,
Okay, yeah.
Fish. So in San Francisco, I would meet the fisherman in Sausalito.
Yeah.
The fish was still in rigor mortis. I mean, he just pulled it out of the ocean.
Yeah.
Or the farmers. We knew them all and bought predominantly as much as we could from them.
Yeah.
Which in the Bay Area was pretty easy. But talking to people here,
Discovering what grows in the desert,
it's
I guess.
possible.
Yeah.
I mean, it's funny because the desert is really alive.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff growing there.
There's a lot of foraging that goes
Yeah.
Yeah.
around here too.
Yeah. I've heard.
And
So it's
wait,
interesting.
And wait till the fall with mushrooms.
Yeah,
Up
super
from
excited.
up north. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's also what people will eat here. We have the pluma, the Iberico, which is not a ham; it's a raw.
Again, so good.
And-
I'm
That's what I
getting
saw
so
back there.
hungry.
You could see it through the window.
That's
Yeah, that's the ham.
Yeah, it's the hamon.
Okay.
But
It's a cut.
but
It's
I've
a
never
special
s- you
cut.
don't-
What
you
feather
don't-
cut they call it? Too?
Yes, feather
Yeah.
cut exactly. But you don't see that in menus in San Francisco or the
No.
amount. I mean, there's octopus, but the amount of we were just saying the amount of octopus we sell here is insane.
Yeah.
Insane. Yeah.
With
Yeah.
it has that chili crisp that he makes.
Yeah.
And then you do like a carrot gel too, right? Or
That's we make a fluid gel from the
fluid
pickling
gel.
liquid. So we do it's almost kind of like an Asian style pickle. So it's high acid and
Nice and
spicy.
crunchy, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then again, it was a discussion I was having with Mitch, and he wanted to incorporate more acid into it, and he's like, and we love the liquid from the pickles, but you
Look
can't just
bad.
you can't just throw it on there.
He goes, wait a minute, I got an idea. I swear to God. He goes, wait a minute. I swear, like 5 minutes later, he comes back. I'm like, holy shit. Like, really?
you're a genius.
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got a good guy here to run.
I
the
do.
food. Yeah.
We worked together for
We're like,
a
I'm
long
so
time.
glad he stuck with us through
Yeah.
COVID,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I mean, not only stuck to us, but moved to Arizona.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
and his wife Ramona, who is back there as a sous chef, pastry chef, sort of everything. Worked for us actually
Even- yeah, even
longer,
longer.
than Evan, and actually was one of the only people that worked in all of our restaurants.
Ah, okay.
I mean, anything in the Bay Area, not
Yeah.
in Portland, Oregon, but,
Yeah.
but now in Arizona.
Yeah. Well, how did Arizona happen? Like, how did you guys decide to?
Someone in San Francisco had been asking me to come out here for years.
Okay.
And we were really busy. But then, like I said, pre-COVID, a good year and a half to 2 years before COVID, we started coming out in here looking because we realized, it'd be nice to make a change.
Yeah.
And it took me a while. Like I didn't understand it, to be honest with you. And then eventually, I mean, I don't fully understand it, but I got enough of a grip on it and was excited to come out here. I mean, I really like it out here.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a great place.
I think I'm from East Coast, And there's just so many surprises. You have preconceived notions, and to realize, how our topography is so varied. So we have vineyards and ranches and 2 growing seasons, and it's
people
all
are
exciting.
really friendly, really so far been very accepting of us, and sort of exciting, because I do think this is a little different than physically in what we're cooking, though again, not we're not we just want people to think it's delicious.
Sure.
Like I tell you, the first time I met Paul Prudhomme, I was working in the Jewish deli, and he was in New York City. He used to travel with his restaurant, and I remember him saying, "All I want is that when someone puts that spoon in their mouth and taste it, all they're thinking about is the next bite."
Ooh, I like that.
And really that's what I want from food, right? The technique is awesome, all that, but in the end, they have to have that,
Sure.
that you want that, we talk about meals we eat, and it's the ones, I've had a lot of great meals, but maybe I don't really remember anything. I don't remember something specific about what I ate, and when I can remember something specific,
it was special.
I know it was special, and that's the meals. And we talk about our trip through Spain, which we were more in the north, but we started at Madrid. Where did we go to? Bilbao?
Bilbao, San Sebastian, Girona.
Jutiria was a little fishing village in Barcelona.
Barcelona, yeah.
How do you do that? I was going to ask about that. Because I could be a permanent R&D assistant, right?
Me too.
Yeah. That's right up my alley. But how do you plan something like that, and how do you execute something like that, right? With intention, right? Because I would go and I'm like, I just want to hit the best restaurants, but you guys are going with intention. How do you even come up with something like that?
I think a lot of that was also just talking with people,
Okay.
And knowing we want to go to different levels of restaurants, we didn't want to go to all Michelin stars.
Yeah.
We want to do the tapas, the smaller places, and we wanted to do some Michelin star restaurants.
Yeah.
A little. We want to see all Spain, and Spain surprised us.
Yeah.
Though, like I said, the restaurant's not fully Spanish; it's just part of the repertoire.
Yeah.
But Evan, probably the least we understood. Like I said, he has so much background in Italian. My wife's Greek, so there's a lot of Greek cooking going on at my house.
Yeah.
I understand what's going on there. And, we bring some Middle Eastern, flavors in there also.
Yeah, this is my husband's favorite hummus.
Oh, really? Okay.
My meat-eating Texas-born husband.
Wow, yeah.
That says a lot.
Yeah.
That says a lot for sure. Yeah.
So it was very interesting for us. Talking about sometimes it surprises you what you're going to find, right? Because you make a reservation at we went to El Cellar, 3 Michelin stars.
Can Roca?
Yeah. And it was great. It was super fun, but probably one of the things that if you talk about eating, was that little town of Jutiria, which is a fishing village between San Sebastian and Barcelona. And they have a tradition, and it started with the sailors barbecuing on the boats, and then sometimes all the bars, they put grills out there to grill the fish, but they're all outside. The grills are outside. So you smell fish. And we went there, had a giant, all it was a giant grilled turbo covered in butter and lemon.
Yeah.
You talk about simple, and that is something that it made a very strong impression, I think, on all of us. And, compared to El Roco, which was crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah,
21 courses or something.
And everything, it's tweezer detailed and tells a story.
And also amazing.
Yeah.
I think some of our favorite restaurants were some of the 1 Michelins.
Yeah.
Actually, were pretty amazing.
Yeah, there's some pretty interesting ones.
Yeah, but the tapa bars, that's also not just the food, it's the experience.
Sure.
Because you got to go fight. You got to fight to get up to that tapa bar to order.
Drinks here as well, because I know there's a wine cellar over there. There's a great selection of spirits. What's
and I was happy to see Brandy.
Yep, Brandy's
She's from
here.
Tarbell's. She's drunk at Tarbell's.
Doing our wine list.
Nice.
And it's interesting. I think that there was this thought that there was going to be a lot of like California big cabs being sold, but they were telling me that's not true. People, and maybe because the food is a little different, like, look, we have plenty of steak here. It's not like we don't have meat on the menu. Right now we have 3 steaks, the crown one being our Flannery 32 to 34 ounce. It's a ribeye, but it's like a certain cut that has more of a cap on it, and it's aged through this crazy process. I mean, it's super unique. I actually ate one last Sunday. I actually sat down and ate here with my family, and we had that, and I was just like, wow, that thing is incredible.
Yeah.
So it's sort of interesting because I think, talking to Brandy, I think that they're selling wines that they didn't expect to.
Like, what do you mean?
Like more in the Greek, Italian.
More exploration.
Yes,
nice.
for sure.
Like
yeah.
And if, for anybody listening, if you get a chance and Brandy's working, I had her pair wines with all my courses, and she did amazing and introduced me to these smaller producers and more unique varietals that I wouldn't have thought of.
I mean, that's how I am. Like when I go, I always want to drink something I haven't had.
Sure.
I'm always interested because I think a lot of those wines from countries that we're not used to, like whether that be France, California, maybe some Italian, they're super interesting.
Yeah.
Super interesting.
And so is wine the biggest beverage, I guess, ordered here?
I have to be honest, I don't know.
No?
I think
great cocktails,
because I think
too.
there's a lot of cocktail making going on here.
Okay.
A lot.
Okay.
So I think it's a good mix. I think people like to drink.
Yeah. I've noticed that about Arizona, right?
Yeah.
mean,
I thought you were going to say, I've noticed that about us.
us too. Us as well. Oh, yeah. I'm not going to shy away
Well,
from
I tell you,
food
I'm
or
not much of
beverage,
a drinker, but what I find myself wanting here is beer, which is something I don't like carbonated drinks.
Yeah.
So it's super weird. But last night, I think I had a couple. I think you and I shared a couple.
Yeah.
What'd you have?
It was a pilsner from Spain, from Barcelona.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Yeah, it was. I don't remember what the name was. It was delicious.
So you've got some
Oh yeah,
like
yeah.
international
And
beers.
look, we just opened, and like there was a lot of work, but like I said, the menu's changing. The cocktail menu is always changing.
Yeah.
The wine list, it's constant tasting for them, because just to keep it growing, keep it interesting,
Yeah. Absolutely.
Do you have
I gotta
any
come here.
signature dishes?
So that's an interesting. That's a
Because
whole,
I know, I
that's
feel
an
like your
interesting
gin tonic
conversation.
is like a signature cocktail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. I'm like, because I don't really know much what is selling up there because I'm on that grill.
You're back there. Yeah.
I'm on that grill.
grilling that big fat.
He's making sure everything's right.
Yeah.
So I don't really know what sells.
Yeah.
I probably would say, like what's interesting is Evan was telling me that like you always look at your product mix of what's selling. It's very even here,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
So it's
like
not heavy on a steak or heavy on.
no, I mean I would say meat sells, but on the whole, it's pretty even. I imagine that is the same with the cocktails. But you'd have to ask like Bjorn or Brandy what is selling. And I think there's going to be a big revamp again of the cocktail menu because we don't, like I said, we're here, right? Like this is like we're trying to create this experience for the guests, but this is an experience for us also.
Sure.
Right? Like
Yeah.
where we meet in the dining room. So for us, it's always about growth and trying things.
Going to the farmer's market and
Yeah,
discovering
and
something.
like just like keeping everyone interested in the kitchen, right? Because it is repetitive. You're doing it the same. So like when I worked for Wolfgang, like my brother and I were really organized in how we ran the kitchen. Not as organized as Evan. He's super organized, but pretty organized. And Wolfgang really likes chaos. But he has a reason. And like I talk to people like at Spago that would be like a fish order would come in at 7:00 and he'd be like, butcher it down. We're going to put a special on. And everyone's like, are you kidding me? Like it's like 300 covers. And part of that is, and I think he's right, it keeps people on their toes.
Sure.
You know, like at Postrio, like each station had to have at least one special every day.
Okay.
And it couldn't be the same special every, you know. So like, I think that his idea of like keeping people thinking, keeping people like focused in that way is interesting.
Yeah. Kind of breaking up that, like, just robotic.
It could it could
Right.
become like that.
Yeah.
It can become like that.
Yeah.
You know, so like not so much for experienced cooks, but for younger cooks, I think it could get
Encourage
that.
the creativity and
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for them and for us. You know, so
Sure.
it's, you know, it's for everyone. And the servers and everyone, they get excited, you know.
I take it. Well, so what's the vision? Like, what's the long game look like for you guys for
Arboleda?
Yeah, specifically.
Hey, we want everyone coming here all the time. I mean, you know, like what we want is it's a big space. It's the biggest restaurant we've ever done. Our restaurants in San Francisco were about 100 seats.
Okay.
This total, I don't know, I guess, let's say 240.
that's a big difference.
It's a big difference. So I think look, this is our ode to Postrio, to when we worked for Wolfgang. This is, we were trying to capture that feeling that we had there, and what it was people used this in different ways, meaning celebratory, just going out for the full-blown dinner, just coming in for tapas and some drinks, you know, all those things, lunch, brunch, like, I just want to be filled with activity.
Yeah.
You know, like,
Sure.
you know, like, and we've been open, we're new, but it seems like it's really ticked up this week, like crazy.
Okay.
Like our weekends have been, Friday, Saturdays have been sort of insane already for the last, 3 weeks, 4 weeks?
Yeah.
And you've been open how long?
Well, I don't know. It depends on how you want to count it. I mean, officially 2 months. I say a month.
Okay.
Because no one knew we were here the first month. No one. There was nothing about us. And to be honest with you, they were still doing a lot of construction outside. So everyone thought they're like, when are you opening? We're like, we're open.
Yeah,
we're
right
open.
now. Yeah.
Like, really? And so we were talking about, yes, I said, I count like maybe 5 weeks, right? That would be probably more fair.
Okay.
But the weekends have been off the hook. Tonight's going to be insane. And it's super fun. I will say, like, I come out, because not tonight, I won't get off that grill. But like last night, someone else worked the grill. I was able to walk around, and we were busy. And I do think this place transports you a little bit to feel like whether you think you're in Spain or Latin America, but somewhere that is beautiful but super relaxed. Like, this place is not stuffy.
Okay.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
But it's super relaxed, and like last night, because the Mark's idea was this indoor-outdoor thing. That's because this used to be Kona Grill. Mark walked in, and we were like, oh, we're going to save money because the bar is there and the bathroom's there. And Mark comes in.
Changed everything.
Everything has to go. And we're like, oh, shit. And but then, you know, he knew, like, it's sort of crazy. I felt like within a half an hour, he knew what he wanted to do.
Okay.
And the idea was that, so, you know, all these windows here go away. They're sliding doors, nano doors. So there's this complete indoor-outdoor feel. This arch you see here is the courtyard. That's what it's supposed to be.
Okay.
So, and what's interesting is, though it's one level, the room is broken up that it feels like different sections.
Sure. Yeah.
So it's sort of fascinating, you know, and like the way that, you know, those windows open so that if you're sitting at the end of the bar, you're actually outside, which is super cool.
Yeah, I love those kind of bars.
that would be my spot over there.
Yeah.
So that, yeah.
That's where we
Yeah,
ended
that's
up
where we
last
hang
night,
out.
Okay, yeah.
like at 12:30.
Yeah. with the window, the doors
And
open.
all
Yeah.
of the doors and windows open, yeah. And it's like,
And it feels Mediterranean because it's so bright and airy, and
Yeah.
you know, the ceilings are lofty, and
yeah,
Olive tree.
olive tree.
Yep.
I mean, putting that window in was crazy. That wasn't there.
that's basically a wall.
Yeah, yeah. You know, Mark, I think Mark just, like, we could not be happier. He also knocked it out of the park with Town Hall, which is our only restaurant left in San Francisco. And if you were to look at that, it's like the complete opposite of this,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
in design, you know. So, but we're really excited. Like, I'd say that the amount of talent that we have working here is unbelievable. On both sides, like incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of my favorite chefs from Flint is working with you,
Yeah,
right?
Scott.
Yeah, Scott.
Yeah. So
Scott,
I was
yeah.
happy to see him on my visit.
Yeah, I mean, and we're getting more people like that. We have someone that just was at Jose Andres and some restaurants in Los Angeles. So it's sort of, but you know what? Like the cooks are all from here, or most of, or 99%, and they're doing a great job.
Yeah.
Everyone's excited. They're excited. They're seeing a lot of new technique because of this guy. Just
Yeah.
Making shrimp oil that takes 10 hours.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm in. You got me.
Yeah.
Well, guys, thanks for joining.
Yeah, of
jumping
course.
on the podcast. I'm excited to eat here. Christina, you'll be here. What you said tomorrow? Once again.
Monday, there's it's Arizona Restaurant Week for spring. We get a little preview where we dine around to 3 places, and we actually
We're doing appetizers.
Yeah, we're starting here with
nice.
appetizers.
So we're doing potato bravas.
Oh.
And a dip. We're not sure which dip because he like everyone comes to me. I'm like, go ask him.
That's this guy. Yeah. He's like,
I'm the grill guy. You want me to cook the chicken? I'll
Yeah.
cook the chicken for you.
Yeah. It's a very important role, though, Mitch.
Yeah.
So, but no, thanks for having us in. This was fantastic, and keep up the great work, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Quick shout out to our sponsor, the Somm Journal. When it comes to wine education, the Somm Journal is the leading print publication in the nation. They provide a behind-the-scenes look at who's who and who's drinking what. It's read by decision makers at restaurants and retail wine shops. So if you want to learn alongside the experts, send your subscription request to subscriptions@sommjournal.com. That's SOMM journal.com.